When I talk about having faith and having confidence that you are a good person being necessary in order for God to answer your prayers, I get a lot of blowback and saying, "Are you saying you've never lusted? Are you saying you can get through an entire day without having a bad thought?" And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to be a perfect person because a bad thought isn't sin. Everybody has bad thought. Everybody wants things they shouldn't want because we're an animal inside. Our nature wants to do bad things. Not bad things, exactly. Let me correct that. Our nature wants to do selfish things because it only cares about ourselves and not what right and wrong is at all. But James tells us very clearly lust, when it has conceived, brings forth sin, and sin, when it has finished, brings forth death. Now that tells us very clearly if sin is death, then why would sin bring forth death? Right? Sin and death are not the same thing, they're different words. Sin causes death. Likewise, lust is not sin, because if lust were sin, we just say lust is sin. But it says lust brings forth sin. Lust has a baby, and it's called sin. Lust by itself is no more than desiring to have something. Now, if you can get through life without desiring something, then you're not human, because I desire a glass of wine tonight. I desire bread. I desire a mate. I desire to have children. These are things I desire, and that's not wrong. But if your lust picks a target that you should not have, somebody else's wife, somebody else's bread, then you have a problem. And that thought, if it's not immediately corrected, will bring forth sin. So it's allowed to say, that lady's hot. Oh, wait, she's married. My bad. Because that's something you're not allowed to do. But if you say, that lady's hot, and then, I wonder if I can get her husband away from her for a few minutes. Now we have a problem because we went from a thought that everyone might have that could have been stopped by a righteous soul, and we let it pursue to a thought that actually is planning to do a bad act. And that is something we should not tolerate because that brings forth sin, which in turn brings forth death. So lust is not the problem. Lust is normal in certain contexts. Lust for things that you are not allowed to have, and a lust that is allowed to dwell on those things and not immediately stopped by a wise and by an alert soul saying, no, we can't have that, so you're not even allowed to want it, that is when it becomes a sin. So you can lust all you want for things you're allowed to have. And you can also lust, provided you stop the lust as soon as you realize you're not supposed to have it. But if you do not do that, then yes, it becomes sin.